Value proposition in sales, why customers should choose you. Let me start with a very simple question. When you are selling something, what is the first question that comes into your customer's mind? It is usually not, what is your product? The real question is, what is in it for me? And that is exactly where value proposition comes into the picture. A value proposition is simply a clear statement of the value you are offering to the customer and why your solution is worth choosing over other alternatives. In simple words, a product tells the customer what you sell. A value proposition tells the customer why they should buy it from you. Let's take a simple example. Suppose I am selling an LED street light. I tell my customer, this is a 100-watt LED street light with a high efficiency LED chip, aluminum housing, IP66 protection, and a 5-year warranty. Technically, that sounds impressive. But have I actually given the customer a reason to buy? Not really. Now imagine I say, this street light can deliver the required illumination with lower power consumption, longer service life, and reduced maintenance, helping you reduce the total cost of ownership over the life of the project. Now I am talking about value. The first statement describes the product. The second statement explains the benefit and business outcome. That is the difference between selling a product and selling value. Why is value proposition so important in sales? Because customers don't actually buy products. They buy solutions to their problems. A customer doesn't necessarily want a street light. He may want better illumination, lower electricity consumption, fewer maintenance problems, and a project that stays within budget. A factory manager doesn't really want a new machine. He wants higher productivity, less downtime, lower operating cost, and consistent quality. A company doesn't buy software simply because it has many features. It buys software because it wants to save time, improve efficiency, reduce errors, or increase revenue. So, when we sell, we should move from what do I have to what problem can I solve for my customer? And then one step further, what measurable value will the customer get by choosing my solution? A good value proposition generally answers 4 questions. First, what problem does the customer have? Second, what solution are we offering? Third, what specific benefit will the customer receive? And finally, fourth, why should the customer choose us rather than another option? That last question is extremely important because your competitor may be selling almost the same product. So, your value proposition should communicate your differentiator. It could be better performance, lower total cost of ownership, faster delivery, better technical support, lower risk, better reliability, customization proven experience, better service, or simply a better overall customer experience. There is one more important point. A value proposition should not be everything you want to say about your company. It should be what matters most to your customer. This is where many salespeople make a mistake. They talk about their company, their products, their technology, their certifications, their experience, and their achievements. But the customer may be silently thinking, that's all very good, but how does this help me? So before preparing your value proposition, understand the customer's priorities. Ask, what is keeping this customer awake at night? Is it cost, quality, delivery, downtime, risk, compliance, maintenance, revenue, performance? Once you understand that, position your solution around that priority. Oh, if we want to remember value proposition in one simple formula, remember this. Customer problem, our solution, customer benefit, business value, why us? That is the foundation of value-based selling. And ultimately, a great salesperson does not simply convince the customer to buy. A great salesperson helps the customer understand why buying is a better decision than not buying. So the next time you meet a customer, don't begin by saying, let me tell you about our product. Instead, start with, let me understand what you are trying to achieve. Because once you understand what the customer values, you can position your product not merely as something they can buy, but as something that is worth buying. And that is the real power of a strong value proposition in sales.